Hey, welcome back to Shane's Soldering Station. Glad to see you again. Today's episode, we're gonna figure out what's going on with this GoldStar 3DO. It is, it's a bit gnarly. It does definitely need a cleaning. So we're gonna get this guy hooked up to the monitor. We'll see what's going on, and then go from there. We'll see you back in a second. Alright, so we got everything hooked up to the monitor here. Got her all cleaned up because it was pretty gnarly. Let's fire it up, see what it does. Let's hit that power button. Got a red light. That's a good, ooh, black screen. Good sign, good sign. Hey, okay. 3DO logo. Okay. Signs of life. We've got a pulse. Let's see. Alright, I grabbed a game. Got a little Street Fighter 2 Turbo here, which I suck at. But let's see. Hey, alright. Looking good so far. Alright, tray is a little sticky. That's... Boy, that's not good. Alright. We have, I don't know if you can hear it. I'm going to try to get my mic a little close to this. I don't know if that's picking it up. Alright, so we definitely got some issues with the lasers here, so let's get this thing powered down, unhooked from the monitor. We'll get it over on the teardown table, take it apart, start looking at it, and see what we got going on. Back in a minute. Alright, so we got the 3DO down on the teardown table here. It's ready to go. Let's take her apart, see if we can figure out what's going on with that laser in there. Alright, so let's flip this guy over. And we got 4 Phillips heads here. So let's get this case open here. Alright. Alright, after a little screwing around with that, let's turn her over so we can get these screws to fall out. So let's try to lift this top cover off. Oh, there we go. Okay. Stuff's moving. Stuff is moving, so that's a good sign. Just don't certainly want to be careful not to break anything here, because this stuff can get brittle over the years. Come on. There we go. Alright. I mean, actually, well, it doesn't look too bad. Not terribly nasty under there. Alright. Well, here we go. The meat of the subject. Alright, now I can break out the iFixit screwdriver and start taking some of this stuff apart. Alright, so okay, we got, alright, let's take the shield off here, and it looks like this screw here and this screw right here. Let me do some adjustment here. There we go. You can see a little bit better. keeping all these screws together. I think this should be only 2 for this, right? Okay. And that just slides out of there like that. Cool beans. Alright, I need to get this guy out of my way for now. I can sit right there. Alright. Well, now we got a good look at the laser here. I'm gonna zoom you in a little bit so you can. Well, I'll have to zoom that in post. But right here's what we're gonna look at. We got this, but boy oh boy, things certainly did not sound right with how it was running. And getting blind as a bat here, people. Let me break out some specs so I can get a little bit better look. And the laser doesn't look like it's super dirty. That's the thing. We'll take the whole disk drive off here and then see if we can get a better look at see what's going on with it. Maybe check the potentiometers, see how those are. Maybe they need a little bit of adjusting. The laser could be getting weak after this many years. Who knows? Let's get her off there and see what's going on. Now, let me get this cover off here. Get a look under that laser. See if we see anything out of the ordinary. So there we go. Okay. Well, let's get the laser off. And all right, so replace this tape later when put everything back. Unless I can kind of save that. If not, I've got some caps and tape I can use on there. Alright, it's... boy. That one came on alright. Jeez, all that screwing around and they popped out that easy after that. Sometimes. Alright. Now. Alright, so. Yeah. There we go. Just slide that guy out and there we go. There we are, I believe. Right there's one of my potentiometers. This little guy right here. I'll have to zoom that in on the camera later on. But I believe that's what that is. Wet. Screw really looks like it could use a good greasing. Alright, well, need to figure out what's going on with this drive here. So I'm going to do a little internet sleuthing and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, so I did a little sleuthing on the old interwebs here and I'm going to check the potentiometer on the disk drive, see where that's sitting at, maybe a little adjustment. Because from what it's sounding like we got a dying laser here. So I might have to just replace the whole laser assembly. I'm going to check that. We'll do a little adjustment on it. Also, the worm gear on here has probably got some tired old grease on there, so we'll clean up the worm gear, put some fresh grease on there. Compliments of Bamboo Lab because I don't have any other grease for this. Alright, so let's adjust the potentiometer. I got the old multimeter out. So let's see what it's reading, and then we can adjust it from there. Remember how to... Oh, there we go. I haven't used this in a little while. Alright, so... do the potentiometer. It's this little guy right down here. I'm going to try to zoom in post so you can see what's going on from over the top here, but try to get a reading on this thing without hurting anything else. This ribbon cable is kind of being difficult for me right now. Alright, 0.6 ohms for that. I'll do it one more time just to make sure. Yep, alright, so we're sitting at 0.6. I've got a nice little tiny screwdriver. Gotta make super small adjustments to this thing. Barely have to turn it. Alright, just a little smidge of a churn. We want it to go down in value. We're still sitting at 6. My glass out so I can actually see if this thing is turning. Alright, yeah, moved a little smidge. These are super tiny adjustments. Alright, at 0.5. So, we lowered it a little bit. I'm going to throw it all back together. We'll see if that adjustment made any difference. Hopefully it does. Otherwise I got to rip it back apart and we'll adjust it again. Unfortunately, this ain't going to be an easy process seeing if we can get that thing done right. Okay, so got the battery changed in the camera. We're all back ready to go. I've got the disk drive partially in there. There's a couple things we need to do. We got the ribbon cables back in. I do have to put a screw in because I'm pretty sure that little, I think that's a ground wire and we're going to need that. So let's get that put in. And that should be the only one we really need to, screw we need to put back in just to test it out. Okay, we got that back on. Gonna need this. I'll put the screws back in for that. And all I should have to do is plug it in and throw in a disc and see if it spins correctly. Wouldn't that be awesome? I don't think it's going to be fixed that easy, but you never know. Electronics are like that. Let's throw a disc back in it. Oop. Well, let's tell it to open first. Okay. Disc in. Close. Come on. Nope. Well, it seems like we got a die-in laser here. So I got one option left. I can... Well, first let's stop this. I can try adjusting the potentiometer a little bit more. It might work. But if I'm gonna have to do a bunch of adjusting to that, the laser's pretty much done. So I'm gonna have to do some digging, see if I can find a new laser for it, and we'll come back, get that ordered, and then get this 3DO back on its feet. Alright, we're back. So got the new laser in for the 3DO. I am gonna get that changed over. Never done it before, so this is gonna be a fun adventure, I hope. But we'll get that done and see if that fixes the problem. Let's get down to it. Alright, well, let's get this taken apart. So, this here. Alright. Looks like... Oh yeah, before I get going on taking this apart... Well, I need to get going on that first. Okay, so it looks like I got some screws here. Gotta take off, release it from the track here. Other than that, I don't see much else really. Hopefully that's it, but let's get those out. Those are super tiny, so do not want to lose those. There we go. That seems to free it up. Oops. Now I'm going to drop that. Oh, there it is. Come here, you. Alright. Will this just lift out? Ah, okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So this has also got to come out. Get that under the scope there with that. We got to get that one out there too. And we can get this one out and we can get the shaft out of here. There we go. That. Oh, okay. Gonna set that just like it is there. And then this whole thing should just lift out. Right. There we go. Alright. That is our laser. There. So this. I'm going to make sure I put that shaft in the same way. I'm going to set that aside for a moment, because one thing I got to do with this this new laser here is got to desolder. Leave that bag down so I can set the laser on it. There is a solder ball here. You need to there we go. Yeah, this little guy right here, we gotta desolder that. I am gonna use just a touch of flux on there. Just a soupçon of flux. Alright. Let's get this off here. There we go. That's perfect. That's all we needed to do. Clean that up real quick here. IPA Yep, that's what we needed to do. Oh, wait a minute, there's still a little bit of a bridge there. We gotta get rid of that. Gotta get rid of that. Can't have that bridge right there. I think I got it, yeah. It looks like it's good. Yep. That connection. Good, good, good. Alright. So now we can get this put back together. We can get this shaft in here and we'll be good to go. I can turn off my soldering iron now. Don't need that anymore. Go back to its home. This cable really need to get out of my way. Alright. One part's going to be making sure I put everything back together the way it came apart. Let's see here. I'm going to pull this out this way, and we just put it right back in there. I'm going to get a little bit of lithium grease here just to kind of put on. I gotta get that on. Oh, better do that right now. This just has... Yes, that's gonna make life a lot simpler. Okay, just a little locking tabs on here. Get this running cable out very gently. There we go, just like that. Lock her in. It's got to be all the way down in there, I think. There we go. Perfect. That's all good. The old laser out of the way. We can set that one back in here. Like so. Now, put that up and we drop you back in there. There we go. Now it's in there properly. Make sure they're just tight enough. Never want to crank anything like that. Okay. Laser looks good. Everything looks to be put together again. I greased up that worm screw there. Greased up that shaft. Should throw... I'm gonna throw just another little soupçon of grease on this one. Doesn't need much. There we go. Just a little glob of grease there. That'll go a long way. Okay, I got that all put back together. That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So let's get it back down on the tear down table. Put everything back together. Alright, so we got everything on the tear apart table here. We're ready to put it back together so we can test her out, make sure the laser and everything's working. I got the new battery socket installed on there. So let's get this guy slapped back together, shall we? So we got the 3DO hooked up to the monitor. Let's test her out, see if that new laser works. I'm pretty sure we're good to go, but let's test her out. Power's on. All right. Good sign, good sign. Now, real test. We'll play a game. Let's try out some Street Fighter Turbo. Okay, good. Moment of truth. Is it gonna read the disc? Let me put your guess in the comment. Oh, okay. I have to do a little bit of, maybe have to take that back apart and grease those gears a little bit, but something's up. I don't even hear it spinning up, so. Well, it looks like we might have to pull it back apart and see what's going on.
Later that same evening.
All right, so here's the skinny on the 3DO. After some detective work, some testing, and some head scratching, turns out that it has a pulse, but for lack of a better term, it's in a coma. After replacing the laser and that not being the issue, actually, I traced it down to a dead IC driver for the CD player itself, the motor. So, lack of finding a parts 3DO, it's a no-go, because I can't get a replacement chip for it, and I'm not going to spend the money to try to find a parts one to hopefully get one that works. So what I am going to do is I'm going to order an optical drive emulator for it. I will do that a little later. When I get that in, I will make a new episode installing it into this and getting this thing back up and running. So you can look forward to that. So unfortunately, we're going to have to end the episode here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.